Good morning, my fellow crafters. Would you like to learn a special way to use our summer shadow dies? Probably a unique way. You've never used it before. I'm going to show you that in today's card, and I'll show you where this beautiful paper comes from and how you can get that cool little tag up top. So join me today as we make this card, and I'll show you some unique things. Good morning, I'm Karen Decker. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Castle Rock, Colorado. So welcome. I appreciate anybody who's here. Let me turn on comments right quick and let me know if you are here with me. And if you have questions, just put them in the chat and I'll try and answer those as I see them. And we're going to make a card that I'm going to go back down now. Bye. We're going to make a card that uses several different techniques. What I call this is paper piecing. And I have had a couple customers who've asked for a demonstration on how to do paper piecing. So we're going to do that today. And amazingly, Stampin' Up! Has made a fabulous set of dies. They've got several that work this way. But right now, they have made a set of dies that you can get right now, is my right now, during our celebration promotion. Now, Stampin' Up! Has an annual catalog with lots of yummies in it and 100 and some pages. Let's see, what did I say? 176 pages and lots of good stuff. And they have a celebration going on right now until the end of September. If you purchase anything from the annual catalog or from the mini catalog, and your purchase totals $50 or it totals $100, you can get something free from Celebration. And what I'm going to be demonstrating today is the free dies that you can get during Celebration with a $100 order. If you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your creative coach to help you find fun ways to spice up your crafting world. I have a blog, and all of the dimensions for this and this video will be posted on my blog. My blog is Stampilosopher, and I have a little icon here, my little friendly Sal, the S and the A and the L from the Stampilosopher, and I talk to him on my blog. So when people think I'm crazy, I say, oh no, I'm not crazy. I do talk to salt shakers, but I'm not crazy. And today, and through September 11th, so through next Saturday, our hostess code is WKQ6CJ7R. And that's a code that you can use when you have an order you want to place, but it is under $150. So you want that $50 order or that $100 order to get your free celebration items. You can use that hostess code, and our current hostess will get the benefits because you won't get hostess benefits until you hit $150. So you watch for that when you hit 130 and say, oh, I need some basic white paper and I could use some more glue dots. Then you can hit that 150 and then you could get a $100 item free and a $50 item free or three $50 items free. So I'd love to be your demonstrator if you don't have one. And if you do have one, then, or you are one, then stay with me and let me show you what you can show to your customers for a new technique and using these dies. So let's get started. I'm going to be using something from each of the catalogs. So here's our celebration. And on page 13, we have those gorgeous dies. And they've used them in lots of different ways here. You saw me if you watch my videos, and we used the big ones, the big dies that cut out the flowers that you stamp when we did shadow stamping on my last one. So if you've never done shadow stamping, you might want to go to my previous video and see that. So my goal today was I want to use every single die. Well, I almost made it. I did not use this little die here that cuts out. Let's go to the big catalog. It cuts out a little green. Do you see in the catalog where we've got these little green, what would you call them? These are your leaves. These would be like the start of your leaves behind there. I just love the way they do that. And you can make one with that die. I didn't do it today, but maybe I could add one to the card. So here's the set that those dice go with. It's called Shaded Summer on page 75 of the annual catalog. And even if you're going, I've got enough flowers. Oh, here it is. Here's that little thing you can cut out with that die if you stamp it and then cut it out. But look at these fabulous greetings. Some friendships are just meant to be. We need to send that to put a smile on somebody's face a lot of the time. And thank you. May the good you do come back to you. On my previous video, I used thank you. Above and beyond, you go there a lot. We have those people in our lives who really do a lot of extra. And then sometimes we just need a hello you. To just send a card to somebody for no reason at all. They will have a smile on their face when they get it out of the mailbox. Or happy birthday, we use that lots and lots and lots. And that's what I used today on this card. I used the happy birthday. And I used a new set of dies in the annual catalog. Let me grab those dies. Called Tailored Tags. Oh, it's another one you're going to want to add to your collection because it has tags that are of many, many sizes and will fit a lot of different applications. So you can have a great big one with great big words, or we're going to use the third one end, and you see how some have kind of a scallopy top and some have just the plain. I just used the plain one today. And what's nice too, if you like reinforcements, they have reinforcements. They poke out 3 at a time, They die cut 3 at a time or 4 at a time here. And you have reinforcements for here if you're going to use thicker ribbon. Now I kind of liked, if you see on here, it makes such a nice little cutout even without the reinforcement because of the way the die pushes down. It makes a nice, oops, that's one too big. Let's go to the smaller one. And this is the happy birthday from our set. So we're going to stamp that and cut it out. And then we're going to add a little cherry cobbler ribbon here on the side with a bow. Who can tell me what that paper is? I know you're looking through your catalog going, I don't see that color of paper. No? Well, that's because you probably didn't realize that that paper is in the new mini catalog. We used to call it holiday catalog because it comes out and we have so many of the Christmas things in it. But that paper is in our mini catalog. It's called Painted Christmas. So you see it right here. So I was looking, I had picked out the colors that I wanted for my flowers and I'm going, okay, but what can I use for a background piece of paper? And I saw this and I'm like, oh, it's perfect. It doesn't have to be Christmas. It can be something else, just like I've done here with a happy birthday. And I think it turned out lovely because you've got your Flirty Flamingo is your background base. And then you've got your cherry cobbler for a layer there. You've got a cherry cobbler layered here behind the white. And this was an angle that I saw Mary Detheridge had done an angled card. And she had done the Summer Shadows and the Shaded Summer a card, and I thought, oh, I really like that. So I thought, let's try and do that too. But I wanted to do paper piecing instead of doing what the dies are meant to do. So let me show you what they're meant to do. These dies, if you cut them out, would make beautiful flowers with a great opening back here to give it that shadowy look. Therefore, the name, Shaded, Shadowy Summer. Okay, let me get this right. We have Shaded Summer is the stamp set. okay? Shaded summer. So you can see how those cutouts give you a wonderful look of the shadow. So on those cards. So that's what it was intended for. And I was playing around and I'm going, well, I want Flirty Flamingo. And I put Pale Papaya behind it. And I just couldn't get something that really popped. So I changed my mind and said, I want to do Cherry Cobbler and Flirty Flamingo on the inside. So I've got my lighter one here and my darker one here. And then my Daffodil Delight for the yellow. For the greens, I used Garden Green and Granny Apple Green to cut those. So let's get started now in putting this thing together. All the dimensions will be on the blog this afternoon, so you can go there and surely I don't lose things when I'm only 5 minutes into this. So we have our card base, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. Then we're going to have a piece of Cherry Cobbler on the inside for a layer. We're going to have a tiny little border on that. We just want that Cherry Cobbler to be a tiny border. But then we're going to bring a diagonal piece on the inside, just like to match the diagonal that we had here on the outside. Then what we're going to do up top is we're going to set up our Stamparatus. And what we're going to do is color the back of our stamps with, listen carefully here, we're going to color them with our markers. You never want to color the back of your stamps with your Stampin' Blends because blends are alcohol and it will completely stain it. So you don't want to do that. So let's go ahead and work backwards, and let's do the inside first because it's right here, and that'll just save us from having to go back again. So we're going to take a little snail and put it on the edges of there. And this is when I stand up because I find if I'm standing and looking down, I have a tendency to get it a little more straight. The other thing I do, which I don't know your technique for getting things straight, mine is I line up this while I'm holding it here, and it seems to work better. So let's bring in that Stamparatus, which is one of those tools you're going to want to have also. And I've mounted one of my stamps here. I just want to use just the very tip top, just to bring in those colors and a flower to the inside. So I'm going to take my Whisper White, Basic White we call it now, and I'm going to mount it where I have the little lines, Karen. It's right there helping you. Then I get to hurry and I forget I've got helps. So see, we'll have just a little bit of that and a little bit of that. And because we've got a Stamparatus, I can color those. I'm going to color the flower. Oh, you don't even see me. I'm going to color the flower with a Cherry Cobbler just for stamping. Now, when we're through stamping, we'll do the inside so that it matches with our Flirty Flamingo. So I know I've even told people, oh, you want to be sure and get the blends because you'll love coloring if you have blends. And I forget about coloring the back of our stamps with markers, which makes it pretty special too. So now I'm going to take the Granny Apple Green. Oop, looks like I got a little more red on there than I wanted. We're going to have to do a little fixing here. We got red clear down on there. So we're going to take that out. Wouldn't it be great if you never made a mistake and it all just went beautifully without a single glitch that had to be fixed? But those glitches are what we call design opportunities. Thank you, Sherry. She's the one who came up with that as we were going, oh my gosh, we have a shadow. Oh no. Well, we punch out a bumblebee or we punch out a butterfly and we cover up our shadow. It's a design opportunity. And then, oh my goodness, it's like, I really like that, to have a little extra on there. And then everybody else who didn't make those mistakes says, me too. I think I'll do it too. So let's see how that looks. I think it looks pretty good, but I'm going to do just a little extra. I like the border, I like the little one, but I want just a little there. So we're going to go to our Stamparatus, add just a little on that one piece, and on the inside of here. So you see what I'm doing? I'm coloring here on the inside, I'm coloring here. Okay. And voila, now I have that cherry cobbler look that I love. What do you think? We've got our cherry cobbler, we've got our Granny Apple Green. We're going to wash that off right quick. Red's one of those colors that, oh my goodness, especially on our photopolymer, it seems to stain even when it shouldn't stain. Okay, thank you, Stamparatus. So now we've got that. We're going to grab our Granny Apple Green. Using the end here, we're going to just extend that down just a little. And then color in so that it doesn't look a different color. Now the one on the bud needs to be a different color because it's just a baby. And now here, on mine, my original one, I didn't let the cherry cobbler dry very well. And I wound up not much of a flirty flamingo because as I colored over the cherry cobbler, it just pulled the cherry cobbler right into my color. So you're going to color really lightly there, 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 because you're going to want it to match your front flower. Same thing here. I'm going to change in so I have a bigger end here. And I'm being, before I wasn't even a little careful when I was doing the flirty flamingo. So then I wound up with a cherry cobbler mix of flirty flamingo. So that is another way to use your stamps. When you want two different colors on your stamps, you can actually color the back of them with your markers. Remember that, with markers, not with blends when you color. Okay, so now we're going to take this. I'm not going to put a greeting on the inside. It's a happy birthday. And with this, you might just want to have a nice little note there without another greeting on the inside. So I'm going to take my liquid purpose glue because I love how I can get it clear out to that little tiny point. And now I'm just going to check on my comments. Is anybody there? Not today. That's because I didn't advertise this. Typically, this Take a Break Tuesday is first Tuesday and third Tuesday. So I'm trying to get a little more consistent. For those of you who would like to follow me, please do so. Hit the subscribe button. And every time I post one of these on YouTube, then you'll be subscribed to receive my new posting. The other thing you can do is go to stampalosifer.com. So www.stampalosifer.com. Think of the S and the A and the L and my little Sal that I talked to. I'm a philosopher who stamps. Go there and you can put in your email, and then anytime I post on the blog, you will also get that. Okay, so our inside is done. We're going to run some snail. And put this right on the inside with that teensy bit of cherry cobbler showing. Okay, our inside is done. I know, you usually want the outside done first. Well, Karen's working from the backwards. My husband makes fun of me and says, why do you always start at the back of a magazine? I get a magazine and then I open it from the back, and I don't know. Then I have to go in. Now, wait, where was that article that was on the front? So, backwards Karen. Okay, so we are going to put down the cherry cobbler, but we're not going to mount the designer series paper, DSP. For those who look at my blog, I'm always using acronyms like DSP for designer series paper. But we're not going to mount this yet, because what we want to do is we want to create this nice angle on here. And to do that, we've got a piece of our white that is 4 by 2. It's not 4 by 2, it's 5 by 2, sorry. 5 by 2. We're going to mount that. Whoops, one more thing that I'm not going to do here, but I want you to see it. Do you see that texture on there? It just adds a little bit on your cards. Instead of having a plain white, you could have plain white. Plain white wouldn't look bad, but when we add texture, it looks extra special. So we're going to add texture and a border. And our texture is from our embossing folder. Tasteful Textile, Tasteful Texture, Tasteful Textile. Page 154 has Tasteful Textile is the embossing folder I'm using. We have so many pretty ones. And there's even more in the other catalogs. So basically, I have run that through, and it's already done so that you don't have to wait and watch me doing that. But I should tell you about it, or you're going to wonder, what in the world did she do? Okay, so now we're going to mount this, and I don't want to use snail. When you've got a textured piece like this, it has up to now, this one's not so bad. I think it would have been fine possibly with the snail, but I'm not going to risk it. But when you have your textures from your textured embossing folders and they go up and down as in you've got grooves in your paper, the snail doesn't attach really well in those grooves, so you can have it where it pulls up pretty easily. So once again, we've got our liquid glue on there, and we're going to wait. The reason I wait just a minute after I put on liquid glue, not a whole minute, but count to 20 or so, is because if you wait, if you see little globbies like this, you've got little globbies of glue here. Ooh, there, that shows it really well. If you've got that too close to the edge, when you mount it, you could have your glue coming out. Then you're going to take your glue eraser and you're trying to get rid of that shiny edge on there. Well, if you just give yourself 10, 20 seconds, be patient, then it becomes like sticky notes, Post-it notes. And then when you stick it down, you won't have it gobbing out on the edges. So I'm going to burnish. This is what we call burnishing. Finger rub. You'd probably understand. I had to look that up once when I was first starting, and it's like, what are they talking about? Be sure and burnish. We'll be using that a couple times today. So we burnish that so that that's nice and on there nicely. Then what we're going to do, now we're going to mount it to our paper. So I've got this up about to there, not critical. So that is about 3/4 on the bottom and 1 inch on the top. And I'm going to put glue in the middle because we're going to cut it off then. I know. Mount it, cut it. I think that's probably not quite close enough to the edge. Okay. We're going to give that a second. That was the inch side down. I love these grid sheets. We sell these grid sheets. You can get them so that you can line up your, like right now I want this kind of 3/4 of an inch this way. Oh, but you know what I'm going to do? Because I did put extra glue out, I want to use, we have silicone pads that I will use it here, and then the glue will get on the silicone pad, and I can wash it off easily instead of, so I'm going to take that about right there. It's not even on both sides, just want to be sure and have room for that. We do. Okay. Burnish that nicely. And you see I did have extra glue there, but you wouldn't want to have not enough glue and then wind up with it peeling off the edge. Look at that paper on the other side. Ooh. We're going to have fun with Christmas cards, ladies and gentlemen. So now I'm going to take my snips. I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to cut this off. Well, would like to get it a little bit closer, Karen. But what's nice is now we have this cherry cobbler layer. We've cut this off here, but when we put it on here, voila, we have the cherry cobbler layer still there. So now I've really bordered that on all sides. Okay, let's glue that down now. Helps if you get your snail running the right way. And again, I look at the bottom and get those sides of the bottom all even, and then it just seems, for whatever reason, if I do the bottom first, that the top just seems to, when I turn loose, be pretty straight. Always? No, but usually. All right, so now we've got our inside done. We've got our outside done. And now let me show you what I've been excited to show you on paper piecing. Sharon, I hope you're there, or I hope you'll listen again sometime. You were wanting to know what in the world is paper piecing. Well, Stampin' Up! Has done a wonderful thing for us. You see where they wanted us to make flowers like this? They created them so that you have that shadow. That's awesome. However, because they did create these great big background dies, so this is a background die, but now this is the one that would normally go over top of it like this with all the detail. This one would go over the top of this one with all the detail, And then we have our background. Oops, let me get this over a little there for you. There you go. We don't need that anymore because we're going to create it. So you see how you have a background, detail, background, detail, background, detail. So like this would be your background is done with pale papaya, and then your top is done with the flirty flamingo. Okay, so we're going to run those through right quick, and we're going to do a background. Only, you know what we're going to use for the background? It's here somewhere. I had them all laid out. We're going to use the double back adhesive tape that Stampin' Up! Has for us. So adhesives are on page 167. Let me show you that right quick because you're going to want to order this. I'm still using ones from the past catalog. So they're a smaller size, but our adhesive sheets are $10 for 12 sheets of 6 by 12 now. And typically what those, you would put them on the back of your cardstock, and then you could run it through, and you would have the sticky to stick down on words, whatever, and you don't have to use your liquid glue or whatever. So that's the typical way we would use them. We're going to use them a little differently. I guess, oh, here it is. We think we've cut all these. So I'm going to take this background piece, all three of these background pieces, and this is critical too. You want to put, there's a shiny side and there's a flat side. You want to put it on the flat side. I made the mistake of putting it on the shiny side thinking, well, they'll both peel off. But the little glue dots that are on your adhesive sheet stick to the shiny side. So we're going to do this. Run it through. Ooh, it's an earthquake. It's just me running the dies on top of the adhesive sheets through the Big Shot. So now that has cut out our three backgrounds. So we're going to pull over our silicone pad here and put our backgrounds here, mainly so we don't want to lose them. We're going to poke out their shadowy parts that we don't want. And voila, we have a background that we are going to be able to have to attach all of our pieces to. It's called paper piecing. Oh, that's interesting. We turned it upside down, and therefore it did not cut at all. Let me run that through right again right quick. I like you to hear it. I don't like you to see the table. Vibrating like an earthquake. We don't need that. So we're going to pull that off the back. There's our outer die. And now we've got two backgrounds and the leaf. The leaf worked just fine because I did turn it up the right way. Then what we do, we've got those. Then we take the colors we want. So I want the outside color to be cherry cobbler. So I take my cherry cobbler and I want cherry cobbler for the outside detailed edges of both of these. The other thing I want is I want cherry cobbler in that little bitty piece. Okay, so we're going to take it like that, run her through our Big Shot. Okay, it's not a Big Shot anymore. It's a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. When you've used a Big Shot for 10 years, it's a little harder to call it something else, but it's not. We have a new machine, beautiful new machine, and I must tell you that this new machine cuts beautifully. Uh-oh, it went running. Now, whether my other one was just so old that it wasn't as tight, or whether this one is just much tighter, don't know. Okay, so now we have our little flower, and see, we have our big flower, and we're going to poke out all this. Now, if you wanted to make a 2-for-1, you'd want to save all these pieces. 2-for-1, you run it through once, and you could get 2 cards, where we could do the inside with the dark red cherry cobbler and do the outside with the flirty flamingo. But for our purposes, we're going to do this. Just do 1 today. I did a 2-for, and I think I chased people away because it was. So see, this is going to go on here. And what's amazing is that adhesive sheet is going to hold it while we do our paper piecing. So there's our 3 outside that we've done in cherry cobbler. Now we're going to take those same dies, and we're going to take our flirty flamingo. And we're going to run a flirty flamingo detail die and a flirty flamingo little bitty die. Ooh, is he going to fit? He's going to fit over there. But let me show you another trick. We're going to take a dryer sheet, and we're going to put a dryer sheet behind this as we cut it. So that that dryer sheet is going to hold the pieces. You can see where I used it here, and those little dots just hold in place so that we can pick them off of here and do our paper piecing. So let's take that flirty flamingo on top of, I should probably show you this. So we've got our platform, number 1, our cutting, number 2, this is what I call the plate. So this would just be a second part of the platform that is for the dies. And then you've got plate number 3, and here I have my dryer sheets here, cardstock, die, and then lo and behold, we have number 3 again for the cutting. So that's the sandwich you're making. I take it off camera and do that, and I guess for all my newbies, you might want to see how that sandwich works, especially when I put extra things on it like dryer sheets. I should have shown you that too with the embossing folder. With the embossing folder, we have a new, so now we're going to take off our little flower. Boy, I've told myself now only run it through once when you've got a dryer sheet back there, because it sticks almost like glue, and you don't want the dryer sheet on the back of your cardstock because it's kind of got a fluffy, hairy look to it, and you can get those hairs out on the side. So you definitely want to get the dryer sheet off the back there so you don't have fuzzies sticking out. Now, if you're doing a little kitty cat, you might want those fuzzies on there. Anyway, there is our little one there. But now look what we've got here. So this is, again, we've run through the detail die the second time. And we have our red. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing here, but I just do want to show you the start. So we ran through the large outside die. This was the detailed die. So the large outside die is what I used for the adhesive sheet. So then we're going to take that adhesive sheet and hopefully, if our fingernails are working well, we just kind of rub the edge of that. Remember when I was a teacher, it was always those contact papers, and you just kind of rolled the edge between your thumb and finger and you could get the contact paper to come off. So kind of the same thing here. Just roll it a little between your thumb. And now we have a sticky. Beautiful sticky. In fact, it's so sticky, it just doesn't want to turn loose of me. And now we've got this with your red. I'm trying to figure out the best way to show you this because the red doesn't show very well. But now I'm going to look for, on the die, the matching part is that little part that comes out. And I want to take this and I want to lay it right down there, knowing it is going to grab it. And if it doesn't line up perfectly, we just trim the edge. But it's amazing. Take a little time and work with it. And voila, you have got your red on. You didn't have to use your Tombow. You didn't have to use your other. You've just used that. And we would do the same with these. We'd pull the backing off. This would be ready to go. And we've got this. Now with the little one, it doesn't have the same type of dies. So basically what I did on the card, if you see, I really wanted to use every single die. And here's the little one here. So I just put the cherry cobbler behind it and layered it. And looking for the matching edges. You just turn, turn, turn till you find your matching edges. Turn, turn, turn. There was a song like that. So I found my matching edge. And then there's one other trick. Do you see the little holes here? Now we're not going to have here, we have all this adhesive when we do our paper piecing. Here we don't. So when you put your liquid glue on the background, since it's going over just a little, we want some liquid glue in there to stick our little yellow middles in. Okay. So now we lay this here, and voila, we've got, do you see how I do have some of the liquid glue coming up? Okay, so there's our little one there. And then we're going to do the same thing with our green, where we've got our green leaf here. We're going to cut out a garden green detail. So we have the detail, we have garden green. We're going to cut out in detail. Same sandwich. Don't need to have any dryer sheet under that because the green is just the outside. We're not trying to paper piece it. So we're just going to pull it off nicely. So whoops, there we go again, earthquake. Okay, that shows me that I really need to get a separate stand here beside the table so that when I'm running that, it's not shaking the table. So that green is going to go on there. You're going to pull off your adhesive. You're going to put this on. Then you're going to run your, you're going to find that piece that we had of dryer sheet. We're going to take the dryer sheet, and now we're going to take that detailed die again. Same sandwich. Save your pieces that you cut out if you want to do 2 cards and do the opposite with Granny Apple Green on the outside, and the other you could wind up doing too. If I go slow, I don't. And again, I want to just go once, because if I pull it back, I like to pull it back so that I have it right in front of me and I'm not reaching to take it off of there. So here we go. We've got that die done. That die is done. That die is done. And then if you see, when we pull off the outside paper, now you can pull this off, or you can leave it there, and then you just take your thumbnail, get underneath there, and you're going to take that piece. Let's just do this, a couple of these, and then I've got these done already, so, but I just wanted you to see how cool this was. So we're taking that double back adhesive, rolling it in our finger till we get it so that it separates easily with our fingernail. Hopefully you've got some fingernails that'll work, or your tweezers would probably work. Never tried tweezers. Okay, so now, if it'll get off of me, now we have our double back adhesive here. There. That's too funny. Okay, and we're going to take, sure we are, we're going to take, let that attach to there, and now we're going to take our die that we cut out in the garden green. That did let me just pull it up and move it over a tidbit. Voila! Now we've got all the pieces that we're going to paper piece in here. So we can take this and we can set this here so we even know, especially with our big one, we're going to want to know which goes where. But now we go like that, it sticks perfect. Go like that, we've got that adhesive in there. Yes, you can use a toothpick and you can use Tombow glue, but wow, where they made such dies that are so perfect with a background for us, why not do this? Again, that one pulled up with the dryer sheet. You don't want the dryer sheet on there. You don't want fuzzy leaves. And you're going to do that all the way around. And see your dryer sheet. Now, before I pull it with the tweezers, I should get under it so that it separates from the dryer sheet. And then use the tweezers or my fingers. And there's all your pieces that you're going to paper piece into here. That becomes very important when we run it through with Daffodil Delight. And now we're going to use all 3. So here's our pieces for pink that we're going to put inside the cherry cobbler. Flirty Flamingo inside the cherry cobblers. Granny Apple Green inside garden green. All your pieces are there. And then you need some pieces for those yellows in the very, very middle. At first I thought, oh, I don't know, it's just so pretty without the yellow. Who needs yellow? But then I did it with yellow and said, oh, it's prettier. So I need my detail dies. So here's the detail. And again, look at all these little dots. You've got to see this. This is just too fun. Where's my other piece of cut dryer sheets? Did I throw it away? Did I use it for a different one? I think I did. This was the one that was supposed to be this one. And this one, and this one. There's one more sheet here. And sometimes it's buried. I'll do a cleanup and it'll be sitting right there underneath where I could have seen it, but I don't want to have you have to wait for me to go through all my stuff. So I will just get another piece of dryer sheets. And now we're going to put this on, and we don't have to put it on all the way because we just want those little dots in there. So we've got the little dots there. And then this, we want just that little dot there. And then we want the little dots on the middle. And this is the most impressive. So I've got to show you this. So we line it up so we're getting all the middles. Again, we have the platform, the cutting plate for dies, and then the cutting plate number 3. Cutting plate number 3. Then we put on our dryer sheet, our cardstock, our dies, cover it with this and run it through. Thanks for your patience, for those of you who've done this lots and lots. I hope you're learning something new here with the paper piecing. So look at this, how it works, where most dryer sheets don't attach quite this well. These are some nice ones. Okay, there's the 3 dots on the inside. And now if you look at your, we might be our glue drying up, but if you look at your die or your flower that you've already cut out with the die, and you see, yep, that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes right there. So then I can actually see that this dot goes in here. And I'm not guessing, because if you get them perfectly, I've got to do one just to show you. If you do them perfectly, no dryer sheet on there, thank you. Ah, now it's underneath my thumbnail. But so this is the bottom here. It's going to go right there. And when you're doing paper piecing, you know, because when it gets in there, it fits absolutely perfect. Now I've got dryer sheet on my... Voila, and then it just fits there gorgeously. And then that one will fit up here. See if we can get him off the dryer sheet first. Those little ones are a little harder to get off the dryer sheet. There he goes, there he goes. There. Let's not lose him. And now we know that is the top one. So we can put that in right there. And it falls in beautifully. We've done this with our Christmas cards, if you remember last year. And see, that's what we didn't want. We've got dryer sheet on there. So that'll need a little fixing there to get the dryer sheet off. And then get it back in its little hole. Turn the right way so that it fits absolutely perfect. Voila! Isn't it amazing? And the look is just totally different than This is a nice look. This is nice, and you could certainly color in there with your yellows. But then look at this. When you do all that paper piecing, you put in all your yellows, and you've got all your pieces now. So on here, you've got that little yellow, and we're going to run our fingernail under it to get the, and see, there's the dryer sheet stays. That comes up. And now, because we've got adhesive, if I'd mounted that, this is going to fit right on there, and you don't even have to worry about your adhesive. What do you think? Do you want to try this yourself? I'd love to see the colors you come up with. Where this is Cherry Cobbler and Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to set that aside and not make you watch me as I do all that paper piecing, but now you know how to paper piece. So I'm going to bring in all these pieces that are done and save you that. Probably, I'd say it would take another 10 or 15 minutes to get all that paper piecing done. So we're going to bring back in our card. Now, the one thing with using our adhesive sheets that I found was a little disconcerting was when I pulled off, okay, let's pull off this back side. You have to stick it down without dimensionals. Or what you can do is leave the backing on there. Let's try that just to see how it looks. Leave your backing on. Don't pull it off. If you pull it off, you can just stick that right down. So you can see here I've stuck that down. But if you use your dimensionals, and quick thing to note, don't forget this. If you put a dimensional right there in the middle, it will not stick. Watch. Comes right up. Because that's that wonderful adhesive that is keeping all those little dots in place, but is going to pull off and you have adhesive. But because Stampin' Up! Made us a nice die that cuts out for this shadow, we can put our dimensional up there. And now see, it won't come off because it's attaching to cardstock. So it's on cardstock there. And it's going to have something on top of it and under it. So, okay, so that one's ready. It's got 2 dimensionals. I'm going to pull a little dimensional, I think. We have 2 sizes of dimensionals. Now, what's nice is these you can order separately and you get 2 sheets. But on our black dimensionals, which you're all going to be using for Halloween, I presume, the black dimensionals come with both a sheet of the large and a sheet of the small. So with your black dimensionals, you get both. Okay, so I want to directly glue down, direct to paper, I think they call it. We're going to start with this little guy. Sure we are. And glue him. Boy, he's just... So we're going to glue him down to give us kind of a starting point for our bouquet of flowers here. So we've got him. Then we've got our little one. So again, we have our little one on top of... Oh, that didn't have any glue on it. We're going to have to stick a little glue on that. And it's going to go direct down to, so I'm going to put my finger there so I don't lose those dots. And put a little of this here. And then it's going to go just, you know, on top. I'm going to hold it for just a second there. Oh, I didn't finish in completely in 1 hour, which is my goal. I love to finish, but we're close. We're close. So then We have this one is going to go a little over the top edge and over a little on here. It's popped up, and then once again we're going to take, we could actually save some dimensional by cutting these in half and just putting the half that is going to fit up on the cardstock. But for the sake of time, we're just going to put these on right quick. So if you have time, stick with me another 15 minutes, and we will embellish this card a bit. And be done. So this one now is going to go out on the bottom side, but we kind of want it over a little because, uh-oh, don't do that yet. We want this guy out here so that we can tell where we're at with that one. I just wanted that pointy up here to go up into there. So if this is going to go here, and I want this one to go down to the bottom here. Okay, so now I kind of see where that needs to go. And we're going to bring our, oh, we don't have to have our liquid glue. Voila, not with this one. Look, it's got our adhesive sheets on it. So we can take that adhesive sheet and pull it right off. And stick it down. Now we pulled off one of the green things, so we're going to save that and fix that here in a minute. So now this is going to go up beside there, and there, and there. And then that little runaway, it didn't run away. It said you wanted me to stick down, and now you want me to come off. Can you make up your mind? There, it still has glue on it. Okay. Now we can put this one down. And where's that end? I liked that one that pointed up to go on the bottom of here with all that red cobbler, cherry cobbler. And I want a little bit of those flower yellows to show. Those were labor intensive to get those little three. No, they really weren't, were they? And voila, there you have your flowers and you have your greenery. And now we just stick our greeting on and we'll be done. So again, we're using the Tailored Tag dies, a new product. We're going to pull a piece of Whisper White here. All the dimensions will be on my blog. And you know what's nice when you're using like the Tailored Tag? I'm going to take the Happy Birthday from our Shaded Summer. So again, you're going to want this. Look at all those greetings. Happy birthday. Of course, I kind of like the Hello You too, because I like to send cards just for no reason at all. So I'm going to put that happy birthday right here. And I started it. I told myself I should count the number of sentences that I start and don't finish. But the nice thing about our dies, we stamp and then we cut. So it's not like, I mean, you could cut it and then try to get it perfectly lined up, but you don't need to. You can stamp it, and then when you cut it, and I'm going to do it a little bit. Remember it's got, so even though it looks like I'm cutting off the happy birthday, it's just going into the dots, the dotted edge. So again, same sandwich. And if you'd like something to do when you can't get up on the slopes this winter and you're stuck at home for some reason, last year was a good reason, but hopefully this year we'll all be able to get out and do lots of winter activities. But some of you may want to just stay at home and enjoy the sunshine and watch it snow maybe, or rain, I suppose. So I am going to, and this one I just tied a regular bow. Let's see. Oops, shredded it, didn't I? Huh. Being an embroiderer person, I know that we just have to find the right one and pull it. So basically I went through with a double loop and then pulled this back through. Did you see how I did that? Let's try not to shred it again, but let me show you. So this is one of my favorites to do with tags, is you double it up. So we double, this is 9 inches. Then we run it through the front. And then I'm pulling those two through, and voila. Then I can tie a nice little bow on top and trim it to where I want it to be. And this one again I did pop up on dimensionals. All bows must be fussed with. They just require it. You just have to get them done, and then you fuss with them. And I kind of like this one long, where it was just kind of coming out over the top. So I kind of want to do the same thing here, where we have it coming out about here. And then you want them about the same size. So then I just kind of eyeball it and say, well, that one's a little longer. Cut it off, pop it up. And we have our little happy birthday. You can always use glue dots on the back of your bows if they are just refusing to cooperate. Then we're going to take our rhinestones and our Take-A-Pick tool, and goodness, this is our Take-A-Pick tool. It's awesome. It's got a pointy end. It's got a spatula end. I use the pointy end a lot. And then it's got this end, which you can use to pick up little pieces. Push and pick up. But usually with my rhinestones, I find that, oh, how funny. I did have 3 rhinestones on here on the original card. Obviously didn't burnish them well. Press and hold. So let's do a little more, and we want, this time I think I want one of the little ones up here with the happy birthday. And then we're going to do one here of the bigger ones, and then a medium-sized one I think down there and up there. And we have, let's put a little one on here so I don't forget that. Of course, I can get carried away with bling. And because you always should have an uneven number, we're going to put one there to make a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blings. Don't ask me why, they just say, and it is really true, that you should use 1s, 3s, 5s, but somehow it is better with your eye than evens. So you'll find that florists, you'll get a florist will send something, it'll have 3 flowers, it'll have 3, it'll have 1, it'll have 5, but it typically doesn't have just 2. So there we go, folks. Did you learn something? I hope you learned something, because that is my joy in life, is teaching. And the thing I love about Stampin' Up! Is having all these products and different things that we can teach you, different ways to do things. So today you learned how to use your adhesive sheets to make a background that you can then paper piece each of those pieces in to give a different look for those flowers than what they were intended. But you know, the way they had it was just fine too, where they have the shadow behind it. Oh, you can't see, can you? Because I switched the where you have the shadow behind it. Looks beautiful too. But this is just a nice way to use your dies and have all those little details come out. And don't forget, you need those dryer sheets. Those dryer sheets will hold it in place so that you can pick it up and put it back in place. So thank you for being with me today. We did go over a little bit. My name is Karen Decker again, Stampilosopher. So if you go to my website, www.stampilosopher.com, I will be blogging and posting all the directions for this. Plus, this video will be on YouTube, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. And we have a fabulous promotion this month. If you would like to be a part of my team, the Karen Crafters, join me. Sign up as a demonstrator, and you will get $125 of product for $99. And then you get all your promotional materials too, which is about $25, but that's above and beyond your $125 of product. And you will get a free bundle. So there's a set number, I think there's 9 bundles in the catalogs that if you sign up before the end of September, you will get one of those bundles for free. We're always trying to get to the half price so we can get a half price bundle. But now you can get it by signing up under me. And then you can be a part of my Karen Crafters Facebook page, and we're going to have some challenges and fun there. So I'd love to have you follow me. I'd love to have you join me. And I'd love to have you just learn something from me. So have a wonderful Tuesday. I hope you had a great weekend this weekend. And I will see you again on Take a Break Tuesday. Bye. Till next time.